Okay, welcome to our Planning Commission meeting for Wednesday, March 23rd. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Ehrlich,
Here.
Mr. Westmeyer,
Here.
Mr. McGarry,
Here.
Mayor,
Here.
Mr. Titterington,
Here.
Mr. Wolke,
Here.
Mr. Cappers.
Here.
All members are present.
Okay, the minutes of the March 9th, 2022 meeting have been disseminated with one correction in your packet today. Mr. McGarry actually was not here last meeting. So are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to those minutes?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and approval, okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. First thing on the agenda, the Downtown Riverfront Overlay District for Lincoln Community Center. Staff have a report.
Yes, sir. So this is the second reading of the DRO slash public hearing. This proposal is to allow for an outdoor playground area, storage building, and community garden area in the side yard. The playground will include equipment that includes Calvin the Caterpillar and again Harry the Hippo.
That was funny once.
Okay. So utilizing the criteria intended to justify a DRO application, you will find the proposed project will have a positive effect on the environment and neighborhood, as the proposed uses of playground area, storage building, and garden area are customarily found in residential zoning districts. The proposed uses are located in the rear of the original building, however, are on the side of the new addition. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission make a positive recommendation to the City Council. The next step is the Clerk of Council will forward the recommendation to the President of Council. In the event that City Council takes no action within 5 business days of the filing of the Planning Commission's recommendation, the recommendation of the Planning Commission shall be adopted and become final. Now I'll conclude my staff report.
Any questions of staff? This is a public hearing, so would anybody like to address the situation concerning the DR district as to the Lincoln Community Center? Come on up, sir. We ask you to come to the microphone, identify yourself, give us your name and address, please.
My name is Lawrence Savage. I represent Zion Baptist Church, 711 West Franklin Street. We got this letter, I think, this past weekend, and I'm addressing this because of the fact that we have some concerns, our church has some concerns about the use of the facility. We're just learning about it. I came up here and got the proposal, didn't know what was going to be, the property was going to be used for. Found out it's going to be a playground, which we have no problem with, and a storage facility.
It's another warning.
We're doing this again?
Yep. Till 4:15.
Sir, keep those thoughts. We'll address those when we get back up from the bomb shelter downstairs, okay?
Wow.
We are adjourning for the moment.
We're recessing.
Yes.
We adjourn, we're done. We recess.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, we're recessing.
Mike, sorry.
You're staying here?
No.
Back up, if you don't mind. Are you ready? Mics are on.
Ready.
Recording. Okay. Recess is over. Okay. Tornado watch is, we're all supposed to be safe now. So we are in the midst of a presentation, a public hearing for applying a DRO district to the property known as the Lincoln Center, or neighboring the Lincoln Center. And we were hearing from Mr. Savage. If you don't mind, sir, continue with your presentation. We apologize for the interruption.
Well, there's a couple questions I have. I'm not totally cognizant of what a DRO is, and like I said, this was news to us as of last week when we got this letter that was sent out, because our property is adjacent to that property, the back of our church, our parking lot. Concerns that we have, after I talked to a couple of our officials, is that if there's a playground, which we have no no problem with the playground there. The building, not sure about it, but we would like to see some type of verbiage in this document about fencing and to protect our property from children coming back on our property, and plus people parking in our lot, which is a private lot, trying to get to the playground.
Okay.
And those are two immediate concerns that we have, because we don't want to be liable for somebody coming across, or if we're having meetings at our church, somebody pulling in, hitting a little kid because they're coming back upon our property. And vandalism from, we've had children in that area, we've had a lot of vandalism to our church, bottles, cans, thrown out windows, things just left on our property that we have to clean up on a weekly basis. So that is one of the things that we're concerned about.
Are you on the corner, sir, of Ash Street and?
No, we're right in the middle of Franklin, 711 West Franklin.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you, sir.
And we also own property 703 West Franklin.
Gotcha.
So from that corner lot, we own that lot and 3 lots, which includes our church, across Franklin.
I see now. Thank you. Anything else? Let me address a couple of those issues, and if you have any other questions, you can ask while you're still at the podium. How's that? The DRO district is the DR stands for Downtown Riverfront Overlay District. It's a zoning district. It, in my opinion, basically allows for zoning so that we don't have to worry about variances and things of that nature. Tim, fill us in if you have any other additions to that.
Well, I would just say that that zoning overlay districts intended to permit alterations and adaptive reuse of existing buildings, vacant parcels, in what we call the downtown riverfront area. So Mr. Cappers alluded to, it's exactly what it's intended to do.
But that property still remains R2, is that right?
Correct. Now, concerning a couple of your other issues, fencing of the playground, I know that the fencing has been part of the plan for Lincoln Center.
But I don't see it written in this document at all.
Tim, is it?
It's not on here because we can do that at the staff level. It's not required to go through the DRO for fencing. So
Well, to me, that's a problem for us. If it's not written, it may not get done.
okay.
I
And
think it was part of the plan.
yeah, it was part of the plan they submitted to the city. So the DRO essentially, for any items that don't qualify to meet the zoning code, has to come and get approval from this board and ultimately city council, should they choose to hear it. Because that does meet the code, the fence, it doesn't have to go through this process. It'll just be done at the administrative level.
The problem we have is if you choose to hear it,
Okay.
that's the problem we have. If it's not written, it may not get done.
Well, I know the Lincoln Center has the money because
It's not about the money, it's whether it gets done or not.
Okay. Yeah, we can't speak to that. That's not before us today, really. Likewise, not before us is the issues concerning the parking and the vandalism. I'm sorry you've experienced that stuff. That's a police matter. If you see it going on, contact the police, and appropriate signage on your parking lot would probably be appropriate.
Well, we have signage in the parking lot, it's private parking. We've had signs put up all around the property. We got one left because it gets torn down. So, it's, but we're just concerned that if there's no fencing, we won't have control over in and out of that playground facility, which if it's close to the drive that comes in, it's probably too close.
Well, as I understand it, there's
I'm
no
not sure
fencing around the playground. And as a private property owner, you have the right to go and put up fencing yourself as long as it still qualifies for the zoning code.
I like to state that we would like to see it in the proposal.
Okay.
That's just, to me, if it's not written, it's not going to get done. It may not get
Something
done.
that could be maybe made a condition of the DRO, and Karen's here, I don't know if you want to allude to that, if you had any issues with the planning commission requiring that as part of the DRO, since you were going to have to do it anyway, that would maybe satisfy his concerns.
Well, not just mine, the church's
Church's
concern.
concerns, sorry. If you would.
Thank you, sir.
Here.
Lynn, 7 South Plum, President of Lincoln Center Board. We are putting in a fence. It's required as part of the playground. I think you guys are aware of that. I explained that to Mr. Savage when we were in the basement. And we're completely fine if you want to add that to the DRO. The fence will only go around the playground portion at this point. We've discussed on our board back and forth about having fencing around the whole property, the pros and cons of that. There are a lot of pros. There are some cons, as it looks like you don't want to welcome people from the neighborhood into the center. But we're fine with putting the fencing around the playground on the DRO, if that's possible.
So I understand the application is amended. Go ahead and require then fencing around the playground. Is that correct?
Which is required by the playground, like the permit that will have to be submitted for the playground, correct?
Correct, you would, yeah, I think that is required by probably your insurance, and I think that was on the playground equipment. I think you allude to in the packet.
Yeah, there is the playground company will submit for that permit.
Well, we'll
Play
amend the
care, yeah.
application to show
So
that it has to
amend-
be
yeah.
around the playground area.
Yep,
Okay.
that works.
Do you have any other comments, ma'am?
No, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else want to make any public comments? Commission have any questions or concerns? Okay, we have now before us an
We need to
amended.
close the public hearing, please.
I'm sorry, thank you very much. The public hearing is now closed. Okay, action be taken on the application for DRO, having been amended at today's hearing. There's a motion to approve. Is
I'll
there
second.
Support by Mr. Wismeyer.
I can't.
I'll make the motion.
Oh, yeah.
And I will second it.
Second by Mr. Rowe. Did we ever get an opinion from Mr. Gerber?
Yeah, I mean, just so you know, recusals are, he can give us opinions, but it's all on us anyway.
Okay.
I think I had mentioned before that I will be recusing myself.
He told me I also need to recuse myself.
Well,
It sounds appropriate.
I forgot.
It sounds appropriate. Okay, very good. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
This is a recommendation to council.
I'm sorry, and this is a recommendation to council regarding the DRO.
Mr. Westmeyer,
Yes.
Mr. McGarry,
Yes.
Mayor,
Abstain.
Mr. Titterington,
abstain.
Mr. Wolke,
Yes.
Mr. Cappers.
Yes.
Mrs. Ehrlich.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
The next matter is the rezoning application for a parcel DOA 106932. Staff has a report.
Yes, sir, so this is a request that the planning commission to consider the rezoning of parcel ID ending in 6932. That was annexed under ordinance 0521. Really, this was a part of the Ferryman Kerber annexation, just assigning city zoning over top of the county zoning. So this property is located on Barnhart Road, north of Finner Road. The surrounding zoning districts include county zoning of R1 AAA, one family residential to the south, and north, and county zoning of A2 to the west. The comprehensive plan future land use map identifies this area as future residential. Due to the straightforward nature of this rezoning request, the compliance with the City of Troy comprehensive plan, and the fact that City Council is required to hold a public hearing if this request proceeds on, staff does not recommend a public hearing. Staff is recommending that Planning Commission recommend approval of the proposed rezoning from city administered county zoning to AR agricultural residential based on the following. The properties are currently being utilized as an agricultural/residential type of use. The proposed rezoning is consistent with the intent and purposes of the City of Troy zoning code, and the proposed rezoning is consistent with the surrounding zoning districts, and the rezoning is consistent with the comprehensive plan. And that'll conclude my staff report.
We've got 3 items on the agenda that are very near themselves. Could you tell me what lot number we're dealing with on this one?
So this is You're looking for the in-lot number?
Yes.
11,400.
Is this 11?
11.
Any questions of staff?
I'll make a motion that we not hold a public hearing.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion concerning this issue? Please call the roll. An affirmative response, by the way, is not to have a public hearing.
Mr. McGarry,
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
Mr. Titterington,
Yes.
Mr. Wolke,
Yes.
Mr. Cappers,
Yes.
Mrs. Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mr. Westmeyer.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Planning Commission will not hold a public hearing.
Next is a recommendation of council in the affirmative or the negative. Any discussion on that?
I'll move to make a positive recommendation to the council.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mayor Oda,
Yes.
Mr. Titterington,
Yes.
Mr. Wolke,
Yes.
Mr. Cappers,
Yes.
Mrs. Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mr. Westmeyer,
Yes.
Mr. McGarry.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
Okay, next we have a rezoning application for in-lot 401. There we go. Staff have a report.
Yes, sir, so this is a request for the planning commission to consider the rezoning of 2077 Finner Road, parcel ID ending in 6934. This was a part of the same annexation. We are, however, requesting this to go to R2 single-family residential. The reason is it's a minimum of 20,000 square feet for the single-family residential district. That parcel is about 30,000, so it's kind of in between the R1 and the R2 district. So due to the straightforward nature of this request, the compliance with the City of Troy comp plan, and the fact that City Council is required to hold a public hearing if the request proceeds on, staff does not recommend a public hearing. Staff is recommending that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the proposed rezoning from City Administered County Zoning to R2 Single Family Residential based on the following. The property is currently being utilized as a single family residential property. The proposed rezoning is consistent with the intent and purposes of the City of Troy zoning code. It's also consistent with the surrounding zoning districts and comprehensive plan.
Are you finished?
Yep, that'll conclude my statement.
Any questions of staff?
I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Austin, as I'm looking at this map, are all of those houses also zoned agricultural? Or does this rezoning bring this property up to the rest of them?
So this property, if you go to Exhibit B1, the red star there, this is the county zoning map. It's showing it that this was existing R1 AA here. We are recommending that that goes to R2. Everything to the north will be the AR. That you can see in the green there.
The rest of it's township, right?
Yes, Concord Township.
So only that starred property is coming in, but it came in as part of the annex.
Okay, so, okay. The rest of it stays county.
Yeah, they haven't annexed it.
Thank you.
Any other questions of staff?
I'll make a motion, we not hold a public hearing.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the public hearing? Please call the roll.
Mr. Titterington,
Yes.
Mr. Wolke,
Yes.
Mr. Cappers,
Yes.
Mrs. Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mr. Westmeyer,
Yes.
Mr. McGarry,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes.
Motion is passed. Commission will not hold a public hearing.
Okay. Recommendation of council? Any action?
I'll move to make that recommendation.
Positive recommendation?
I'll second.
And a second by Mr. Westmeyer. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Wolke,
Yes.
Mr. Cappers,
Yes.
Mrs. Ehrlich,
Yes.
Mr. Westmeyer,
Yes.
Mr. McGarry,
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
Mr. Titterington.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
Okay, next, we have the rezoning application for a 12.524 acre tract. Staff have a report.
Yeah, so this is actually two parcels that were a part of the Blackmore Hill annexation. This includes in-lot 11465 and the parcel ID ending in 7350. The property is currently zoned county zoning of A2 general agriculture. The city is requesting that the zoning district for these parcels be rezoned to AR. Due to the straightforward nature of this request and the compliance with the comp plan and the fact that city council is required to hold a public hearing, staff does not recommend a public hearing. Staff is recommending that the planning commission recommend approval of the proposed rezoning from city administered county zoning to AR agricultural residential based on the following. The properties are currently being utilized as agricultural and residential type of uses. They're consistent with the intent and purposes of the zoning code, consistent with the surrounding districts, and consistent with the comp plan. And that'll conclude my staff report.
Any questions of staff? I have one. Where, this is the map you have that's the exhibit with this. Where does this attach itself to any city of Troy property?
So it actually attaches along Barnhart Road, actually 2077 Fenner Road, which is a previous parcel. It touches 2077 Fenner Road, and it also touches along Barnhart Road.
The Fenner's down at the bottom. But you just said the ones down on Fenner Road are township properties.
Those were, the 2077 Fenner Road were annexed as a part of the Kerber Ferryman annexation.
And we're not dealing with the annexation. I'm just curious as to, this is a standing alone by itself, a spot zoning or anything like that, is it?
No, it's not.
Okay, where does that annexation, where does that touch prior city property?
So it touches the land off of Barnhart, which the county purchased, which is the one stop right across from Speedway. That big farmland is inside the city, and then 2077 abuts right up against that across the street. And that's where it connects to the city. And then the Blackmore Ferryman continue behind that. So that's where they got the connection to the city.
Okay, I was just curious. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions of staff? Okay. Anybody want to take any action on a public hearing? I'm sorry?
I move we not hold a public hearing.
Second.
Motion supported for not having a public hearing. Any other discussion on that? Please call the roll.
Mr. Cappers?
Yes.
Mrs. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Westmeyer?
Yes.
Mr. McGarry?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Titterington?
Yes.
Mr. Wolke?
Yes.
Motion is passed. Commission will not hold a public hearing.
Okay. Recommendation of council? Anybody?
I'll make a recommendation.
Positive recommendation by Mr. Westmeyer. Is there support for that?
I'll second.
Okay, Mrs. Ehrlich? Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Westmeyer?
Yes.
Mr. McGarry?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Titterington?
Yes.
Mr. Wolke?
Yes.
Mr. Cappers?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Does staff have anything else to come before the commission today?
Yeah, so we have one item. 215 East Main Street was purchased by Fannie Mae. We're starting to see some work being done on the property. There is asphalt shingles being replaced like for like as we speak. It was in pretty bad disrepair. There was a canopy that fully collapsed. So they went ahead and did remove that. At our next meeting, we should have a full work plan for that with elevation drawings to come before you.
Okay, good. Anything else?
Nothing
Commissioner?
further.
I'm sorry.
Nothing further.
The commission have anything they want to discuss? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned.